Hi, Stephen Bones here of stephenbones.com, and I just want to talk about how we suppress our feelings. And that, believe it or not, was an experience, a pattern that we got into when we were between the ages of 6 years old. And just to give you an idea of a small snippet of an example of what I mean by that, if you go back to that time, or you probably as a parent, and I certainly have repeated that same patterning because that's what we learnt and that's what was programmed in our minds. For instance, a child runs up to you and says, crying, and you pick them up and say, "What's the matter?" So, AKA, why are you feeling what you're feeling, why are you crying? And then you go, shh, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Or that's what our parents would say to us, stop crying, stop crying. AKA, the crying and the emotion you're feeling is wrong. And that was quite amazing when I found that out. And when I went on my journey of healing and I began to understand how all this stuff worked, that small example for me was quite an eye-opener. I think it explains implicitly how we can heal once we have somebody that understands all this and can coach us through it. Because you see, through my life, I had sort of stress, anger and overwhelm and all that stuff, the same as everybody else. And that's what I went out to heal, to learn to heal. But then when I got deeper in and began to get passionate about what I was doing and began to share this stuff with other people, I found it quite fascinating that we then, through that experience, and we've all experienced something like that. So the minute we get into a public situation or people around us and emotions well up to cry, that behaviour, that pre-programming from that age triggers, and the mind says, oh, that's wrong to feel that. You shouldn't be feeling this way. Stop it. And boom, we push it back down. We try and choke off the crying and the emotion. Now, just to give you an instance for any of you parents out there that have got young children, I would strongly advise, because this is what I've learned, rather than trying to use the same pattern that we've been programmed with, that when your child or grandchild comes up to you and often will, crying like that, the easy way around that is just to change the language and say, hey, what's caused you to feel the way you're feeling? And then you can go from there. So in other words, let the feeling allow. And as human beings, we've been 90% of us, 90 odd percent of us are all pre-programmed in the same way to these types of feelings, that we suppress them and we don't realise that we're pre-programming again the next generation in the same way. It's quite amazing, it's quite fascinating, and it's quite incredible. I would just offer you to just perhaps try that. It's not going to do any harm, certainly. It can only do increase your awareness of that as you're going forward. So by all means, see how you get on. Let me know, comment or share this video. By all means, subscribe, because I've got more stuff coming out as well. And if you dong on the bell, then you'll get more stuff coming out. But our life is revolved around feelings, and that's just one type of easy way to give an example of how we suppress this stuff. And the more we suppress it, the more it causes us trouble, and the mind to then begin to rule our life through fear, stress, overwhelm, anger and chaos and confusion. And we shouldn't have to feel this way. We all deserve to feel in much better ways. So thanks very much for listening to me. I really do appreciate it. This is Stephen Bones of stephenbones.com, and we will speak